It's January 2022, and Brooklyn's largest development project, known as Atlantic Yards or Pacific Park, is once again at a crossroads. Developers are expected to seek a renegotiation of the project plan to finally deliver on public commitments made to the people of Brooklyn 18 years ago. The Brooklyn Speaks Coalition has started its Crossroads initiative to engage communities surrounding the project in a dialogue about future development at the site. This presentation provides an overview and history of the Atlantic Yards project to help explain how we got to where we are today. The Brooklyn Speaks Coalition was formed in 2006 to increase public engagement and improve accountability at Atlantic Yards. The coalition members are the Atlantic Avenue Local Development Corporation, the Boerum Hill Association, the Brooklyn Heights Association, Brown Community Development Corporation, CNU NYC, Diaspora Community Services, the Fifth Avenue Committee, the Park Slope Civic Council, Impact Brooklyn, the North Flatbush Business Improvement District, the North Prospect Heights Association, and the Prospect Heights Neighborhood Development Council. The Atlantic Yards project is bound mostly by Flatbush Avenue on the west, Atlantic Avenue on the north, Vanderbilt Avenue on the east, and Dean Street on the south, with an additional parcel to the west bounded by Atlantic Avenue, Flatbush Avenue, Pacific Street, and 4th Avenue. This diagram, provided by AtlanticYardsReport.com, shows current progress at the Atlantic Yards site and what could be built based on the currently approved plans. Today, 3,212 apartments out of a total of 6,430 have been completed. So that's about 50% of the project. The remaining apartments must come in buildings that are to be constructed over the Vanderbilt rail yard between 6th Avenue, Vanderbilt Avenue, Atlantic Avenue, and Pacific Street. We'll come back and talk about that more later in the presentation. When Atlantic Yards was first approved in 2006, the project developers claimed it would be completed by 2016. Promised to be included with the project were an arena, 2,250 units of affordable housing, office and hotel space, 8 acres of open space, an urban room, an upgraded LIRR rail yard, a new subway entrance, a healthcare center, an intergenerational facility, and a public school. But before the final agreements were signed in 2009, the New York State Empire State Development Corporation allowed Forest City Ratner companies to delay Atlantic Yards' completion, including its affordable housing, until 2035. This picture shows the groundbreaking for the Barclays Center Arena. On the left, we see developer Bruce Ratner. Next to him is Mayor Michael Bloomberg. Next to him is Governor David Patterson. Next to him is Borough President Marty Markowitz. And next to him is hip-hop star Jay-Z. Today, none of these people are involved with the project. Construction of the Barclays Center Arena began in 2010. The arena opened in 2012. 461 Dean Street began construction in 2012. It was plagued with delays and did not complete until 2016. In 2014, under threat of a federal fair housing lawsuit by Brooklyn Speaks sponsors, the state and developers agreed to complete all remaining affordable housing at Atlantic Yards by 2025. Forest City Ratner Companies then sold a 70% interest in the project to Shanghai-based Greenland Group. Atlantic Yards was rebranded as Pacific Park. Construction began on 550 Vanderbilt Avenue, 535 Carlton Avenue, and 38 6th Avenue. In 2017, Forest City Ratner sold all but 5% of its remaining interest in Atlantic Yards to Greenland. It was then acquired by Brookfield Asset Management in 2018. Today, The status of the public commitments at Atlantic Yards is as follows. The arena opened in 2012, but less than 35% of the project's 2,250 affordable apartments have been completed. No plans have been announced for the office and hotel space. Less than an acre is complete of the 8 acres of promised open space. No plans have been announced for the urban room. The upgraded LIRR rail yard is still pending final completion. A new subway entrance opened in 2012 and a healthcare center opened in 2019. No plans have been announced for the intergenerational facility, and completion of the public school is expected at the beginning of the school year, September 2025. Meeting Atlantic Yard's public commitments, particularly the 2025 affordable housing deadline, is now challenged by changes in China's market conditions, changes to city and state affordable housing subsidies, and the greater expense of building over the Vanderbilt rail yard. Since 2014, China's economic policy has changed, making foreign investment more difficult for Chinese real estate developers. Greenland has sold rights to B12, B13, and B15 lots to other developers and formed a joint venture to develop B4. The company is seeking to exit projects in Los Angeles and San Francisco, and like other Chinese developers, Greenland is heavily leveraged. Its debt is rated as junk. In 2005, original developer Forest City Radnor signed a Memorandum of Understanding, or a Community Benefits Agreement, with housing advocate Acorn, committing to build 2,250 units of affordable housing targeting a variety of income levels. Many of the 781 affordable units completed today, however, have been offered to tenants earning significantly more than what was promised in the 2005 MOU. In particular, you'll notice that more than half of the apartments that have been completed to date are offered to households whose income would exceed $150,000 a year. Remaining affordable and market rate housing at Atlantic Yards is heavily dependent upon city and state subsidy, but policies have changed since the project was announced. Before the expiration of the state 421A tax abatement in 2016, buildings at Atlantic Yards which contained no affordable housing had a special carve-out that allowed them to significantly reduce their property taxes. Under the de Blasio administration, changes to the city's affordable housing term sheets resulted in financing subsidies becoming less attractive to luxury projects like Atlantic Yards. Finally, the current affordable New York tax abatement will expire in June of 2022. Governor Hochul recently vowed not to renew it. Meeting the 2025 affordable housing deadline requires completion of some or all of the 6 buildings planned above the Vanderbilt rail yard. Neither of 2 costly decks over the rail yard blocks have been started, and each will require about 3 years to build. On September 30, 2019, Greenland Forest City Partners announced construction of a platform over the West Rail Yard block would begin in 2020, but as of January 2022, it hasn't. In the meantime, city and state governments have not been effective partners in managing environmental impacts from Atlantic Yards. Local parking has become extremely constricted, with FDNY and NYPD vehicles overrunning local sidewalks. Alternate side parking is no longer enforced near the arena, resulting in deteriorating street hygiene, including vermin. Before the pandemic, illegal parking was rampant during arena events. And problems from concentration of traffic-intensive municipal and private uses remain unaddressed by city government. This is the intersection of 6th Avenue and Dean Street. It's a place where there's a lot of competition for the street. It contains the arena loading and private parking garage, a healthcare center, the NYPD station house, an FDNY station house, and the location of the future school in Building B15. If that wasn't enough, Dean Street also contains a bike lane and a bus lane. In August 2019, developers who bought leases to Atlantic Yards lots B12 and B13 were able to have the New York State Empire State Development approve additional development rights, making the sites more valuable. At the new developer's request, 105,000 square feet of below-grade floor area was added for a fitness center and field house. No additional public benefits were associated with this increase, and the ESD's approval bypassed public review. More changes are expected in the future. Developers have indicated an interest in transferring floor area approved for the Atlantic Yards original Building 1 to other project sites and have suggested a possible 80 to 90-story building on Flatbush Avenue across from the arena. Here's the Barclays Center Arena. Building B1 was to sit in the space now occupied by the Oculus and the subway entrance, as we see in this picture. Since it's not possible to build a building there now, developers are proposing to transfer that bulk across Flatbush Avenue and add it to the bulk that's already been approved for Site 5, the block that holds P.C. Richards and Modell's, resulting in a building tall enough to be seen all the way from the Manhattan Bridge. This is not the way the project should proceed. It's time we made a real plan, a plan that's achievable for the people of Brooklyn and the taxpayers of New York State. The Crossroads Initiative is now beginning a community dialogue on the future of Brooklyn's biggest project. On January 12th, we'll discuss urban design and street design. On January 19th, we'll discuss transportation. On January 26th, we'll discuss affordable housing. And on February 2nd, we'll discuss accountability. All sessions will take place at 7 p.m. and will be online via Zoom. You can register at brooklynspeaks.net/crossroads. You can also, from the same page, find a link to an online website where you can comment on the presentations at your own convenience. Thanks very much for taking the time to learn more about the Atlantic Yards project. We hope you'll spend time with the Crossroads presentations and work with us to help make a real plan for the future of Atlantic Yards.